In a land torn by war and faith, one young king defied a merciless disease and a formidable enemy to etch his name into history. This is the saga of Baldwin IV, the Leper King of Jerusalem, a ruler whose courage outshone his suffering, whose wisdom held a kingdom together against all odds. Welcome back to the Historian's Table. Today's episode revolves around the tale of resilience in the heart of the Crusades, where a boy king faced the might of Saladin and the ravages of leprosy. This is his story, told in 5 acts, blending the drama of his life with the truths of history. Get ready for a journey to the Holy Land, where one man's will shaped an era. Born in 1161, Baldwin IV was the son of King Amalric I and Agnes of Courtenay, a noblewoman with ambition to match her lineage. The Kingdom of Jerusalem, a Christian stronghold carved out during the First Crusade, was a melting pot of cultures but a powder keg of conflict, surrounded by Muslim territories unified under the brilliant Nur ad-Din. Baldwin's early years were filled with promise. He was bright, athletic, and charismatic, trained in the arts of war and governance by William of Tyre, a scholar who saw in him a future leader. But at 9, a chilling realization changed everything. During play, Baldwin felt no pain in his right arm, a hallmark of leprosy, a disease feared as much for its stigma as its toll. Leprosy was a highly contagious disease caused by bacteria. It causes raised lesions in the skin, nerve damage, eye problems, and in advanced cases, deformities and blindness. In the 12th century, leprosy was misunderstood, and lepers were outcasts. Luckily for Baldwin, his royal blood spared him exile. William kept the diagnosis quiet, but the shadow of mortality loomed over the young prince. The court buzzed with rumors, but Baldwin's spirit remained unbroken. His education intensified, preparing him for a destiny few believed he could fulfill. Little did they know, this boy would soon wear the crown. In 1174, tragedy struck. King Amalric died of dysentery at 38, leaving the throne to his teenage son. On July 15th, Baldwin IV was crowned in Jerusalem's holiest church, a symbolic nod to the First Crusade's triumph 75 years earlier. At 13, he faced a kingdom fractured by noble rivalries and threatened by Nur ad-Din's successor, Saladin. Saladin, now Sultan of Egypt and Syria, was uniting Muslim forces with a singular goal: to reclaim Jerusalem. Baldwin's kingdom was a patchwork of fiefs, its survival hinging on fragile alliances with the Knights Templar and Hospitaller orders. The boy king had to grow up fast. Despite his youth and illness, Baldwin showed remarkable aptitude. He memorized military tactics, mastered horseback riding with one hand, and earned the respect of hardened knights. His leprosy was an open secret, yet his determination silenced doubters. For now. At 16, Baldwin faced his greatest test. Saladin, confident after conquering Muslim rivals, marched on Jerusalem with an army of 26,000, including the elite Mamluks. Baldwin, with just 3,000 to 4,500 men, including 80 Knights Templar, rode to meet him at Montgisard. This teenage king, his body already betraying him, led a desperate charge against a force 5 times his size. Baldwin's plan was bold: Strike fast. Exploit Saladin's overconfidence. On November 25, 1177, the Crusaders attacked at dawn. The Battle of Montgisard was a stunning upset. Baldwin's forces shattered Saladin's lines, pursuing them for 12 miles. Saladin fled to Cairo with barely a tenth of his army, his defeat so humiliating that Muslim chroniclers called it a divine rebuke. Baldwin, barely able to grip his reins, emerged as a hero. Montgisard cemented Baldwin's reputation. He wasn't just a sick boy, he was a warrior king. But victory came at a cost. The exertion worsened his condition, and the kingdom's nobles grew bolder, sensing his time was short. By 1180, Baldwin's leprosy had spread. His hands were clawed, his face disfigured, and sores plagued his body. Yet he refused to step down, governing with advisors like his mother, Agnes, and uncle, Jocelyn II. His court was a viper's nest. Nobles like Guy of Lusignan and Raynald of Châtillon vied for power. Saladin regrouped, launching relentless campaigns. In 1182, Baldwin led a victory at Les Fourbalais, but his health was failing. By 1183, he was nearly blind and immobile, carried to council meetings on a litter. Still, he ruled with clarity, issuing edicts and negotiating truces. In 1183, Saladin besieged Carrac Castle during the wedding of Baldwin's sister, Isabella, to Humphrey IV of Tyrone. Baldwin, now 22, mustered a relief force. Carried on a stretcher, his presence alone inspired the garrison. On December 4th, Saladin withdrew, awed and wary of the Leper King's resolve. Historians like William of Tyre marveled at Baldwin's tenacity. He balanced diplomacy with force, securing truces with Saladin to buy time. But his body was a ticking clock, and the kingdom's future rested on an uncertain succession. Knowing he couldn't marry or sire heirs, Baldwin planned for the future. He arranged strategic marriages for his sisters, Sabia and Isabella, though Sabia's husband, Guy of Lusignan, proved divisive. In 1183, Baldwin crowned his 5-year-old nephew, Baldwin V, as co-king, with Raymond III as regent, hoping to secure stability. In March 1185, Baldwin IV died at 24 years old. His body lay to rest in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. His passing marked the end of an era. Baldwin V died a year later, at only 6 years old. And by 1187, Saladin captured Jerusalem after the disastrous Battle of Hattin, led by the ill-fated Guy. Baldwin's story endures, romanticized in Ridley Scott's Kingdom of Heaven. The film's masked king is a myth. Baldwin veiled his face, but didn't wear a mask. But its spirit captures his wisdom and grace. Historians note his reign as a high point. No territory was lost, and Jerusalem's economy thrived. Baldwin IV was more than a king. He was a symbol of defiance. In a world that saw leprosy as a curse, he ruled with dignity, outwitting Saladin and outlasting his pain. His legacy is a reminder that the body cannot limit the strength of the soul. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you thought the video was interesting, leave a like and subscribe, as any support is greatly appreciated. Remember that you always have a seat at the historian's table. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.